While we have this Anatomage table from the Garden City Community College, I thought I'd make some videos before we have to give it back. We only get it for a limited time. So I will be doing some lessons that we will show later on in this channel and for the class. So hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so let's just review anatomy and physiology basics, the terminology that's going to be used throughout the entire course. We're going to start with your planes, the planes that of the human body. So if I were to go to my planes here, there we go. Right here, this is a median plane. It goes right down that midline. So that's that median plane. Any other plane that would go, go that way. There we go. Would go this way. If I were to, make a cut this way, that's called a sagittal plane. So sagittal plane is just a cut up and down that way, superior to inferior, and that is a sagittal plane. The median plane goes right down that midline. So we got a sagittal plane and a median plane here. Getting back here. So those are your median plane, right down that midline, the sagittal plane. Sagittal actually means flight of an arrow, and it's if a arrow were to go through the body like that. Next we have the transverse. So if you remember transverse, it would be cutting the body this way, laterally and medially. So if we got rid of that, wrong side. So if we took a transverse cut right here, you got that transverse plane, and you can make the transverse planes go laterally and medially. So we can do that too, and that. So we have that transverse. Remember, transverse, lateral, and medial. And then we have our coronal, or our frontal, keep hitting the wrong button, our frontal plane here. It cuts the body in that way. You got posterior and anterior halves. So you get that posterior and anterior half. So those are your planes of your body. So now let's talk about the anatomical positions. So if I go towards the cranium, if I go this way, towards the cranium, that's superior. If I go away from the cranium, that is inferior. Then you have lateral, away from that midline, and distal. Lateral away from the midline, and then you have medial towards that midline. Remember, don't get it confused with median. Median is the plane that goes down that midline. Medial is the direction towards that median plane. So you got lateral, you got medial, you got superior, you got inferior, distal, and proximal. Proximal just means within the proximity, it's nearest. And distal is, it's right in the name, distant. So let's review: lateral, medial, superior, inferior, proximal, and then if his arm was out a little bit more, it would be distal, or the distance. His hand would be more distal than his elbow to the body. Anterior, right here, this is his anterior position. This is his posterior side. So those are your directions, your anatomical directions. Okay, so now let's go through the 11 systems. So the 11 systems were also part of your review. You're looking at his skin, his hair. He's balding, so he doesn't have hair, but you can see his hair. He is a mammal, so he does have hair. So all that, the hair, the skin, all that is the integumentary system. And what its job is to do, its physiology is to keep bad things out. Your skin protects you from keeping bad things out, and it's keeping all the good stuff in, the water, the nutrients, all that stuff. And without it, there's just a lot of protection. So again, skin is that stratified squamous tissue, multiple layers and flat scale-like cells. So if we just go through and pull him down, we go through the different systems here. This would be the muscular system. You have 3 types of muscle. You have Skeletal muscle is what you're seeing here. You have your smooth muscle, the muscle within those hollow organs, and then you have your cardiac muscle, the muscle that forms your heart. The differences between those three, skeletal muscle is striated and it is voluntary. Smooth muscle is involuntary and non-striated, and cardiac muscle is striated but involuntary. Involuntary just means you don't have to think about it. You don't have to use your constant thinking power to keep your heart pumping. Your brainstem keeps that going for you. So let's take some muscle away, and then we start to see, some more of the organs. So let's just go through different our different systems here. So right now we're seeing our digestive system, our large intestine, our small intestine. I have just a pointer. There we go. You have your this is if we just look and we see, those are all. I can do that. So if we just go through and get our digestive system here. We have our small intestine, our large intestine, our liver, which is an accessory organ, our stomach, our gallbladder, which is underneath the liver there. And its primary purpose is to break down our food into smaller macromolecules and incorporate it into our tissues. So it starts at the mouth, goes down into the esophagus, here into the stomach, where then chemical digestion happens, and then it gets down into the small intestine. The small intestine is where you have that simple columnar tissue, and that's what's going to be absorbing it into the bloodstream. All those nutrients that we're breaking down. Your liver and your pancreas, or your stomach, and you can't really see it on here. If I got rid of it here, wrong button. If I got rid of it here, should be. Oh, that mesentery. But your pancreas, your liver, let's get it all back. Oops. So if we get our digestive system, we have our stomach, we have our liver, our pancreas, which are accessory organs. They develop all those enzymes to help us break. Uh-oh. I ran out of space on my audio, so it's just going to have to be on the phone. Where was I? Oh yeah, the digestive system. So digestive system, you have, starts all the way up at the esophagus, goes down into the stomach, where then chemical digestion happens with that hydrochloric acid and your stomach acid here. And then your liver, which produces bile to help you break down fats. Pancreas produces all your enzymes to help you break down certain things like proteins and carbohydrates into smaller macromolecules. Then it goes into the small intestine, which you have that simple columnar tissue inside to help you absorb all those nutrients. And once it goes through there, it goes through the large intestine, or the colon. And its primary purpose is to reabsorb water, and then it goes out the anus. So that is the digestive system. Let's get rid of that. Let's go to the respiratory system. We have, again, the nasal cavity and the oral cavity here. Instead of going down into the esophagus, you have the epiglottis to protect you from doing that. It'll close that trachea. That trachea is going to be your windpipe, and it's going to go down into the lungs to where it's going to oxygenate your blood, and it's going to have simple squamous tissue around those air sacs in the lungs, and it's going to put that oxygenated blood it's going to oxygenate your blood, and then it's going to take that carbon dioxide out of your blood, and then that's what you exhale. So you inhale oxygen, your lungs put it into your blood puts carbon dioxide into your lungs, and then you breathe out that carbon dioxide every breath you take. That carbon dioxide is a byproduct of cellular respiration throughout the entire body. So respiratory system, you have your urinary system, your kidneys, your ureters, your urethra, and your bladder here are all there to filter your blood. Your kidneys are actually the big filters of your blood. They're filtering all the excess nutrients or excess salts and stuff like that out of the blood, putting it into the bladder so you can get rid of it into the environment. The endocrine system, all of your glands, here you have your parotid, you have your thyroid gland. These are all, and then in the skull here, you're going to have your pituitary gland. These are your hormone factories. They're producing hormones. That way, everything in your body is regulated by hormones, you know, from growth and development to reproduction to metabolism to water regulation. All that stuff is because of hormones and your endocrine system. Your cardiovascular system, all its job is to do is to pump that oxygenated blood to the cells, take that deoxygenated blood away from the cells, put them back into the heart so it can pump it back into the lungs so you can exhale it. It also transports metabolic wastes to your kidneys to be filtered out. It transports nutrients from your digestive system to every single cell. I mean, the cardiovascular system is very important. That's why it's behind this thoracic cage here along with the lungs, is because your thoracic cage has to protect these two vital organs, just the way the cranium protects the vital organ of the brain. You have your nervous system, your peripheral nervous system, and your central nervous system, your brain, and all of the nerves in your body that goes to the spinal cord, which is the superhighway, and it's taking all of the feeling from your peripheral nervous system and shooting it up to the brain. And the brain is the central nervous system, and it's going to kind of route those sensations to the proper place in the brain, either the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, temporal lobe, occipital lobe, whatever is the stimulation, your brain's going to make sense of it and interpret it as it will. We have your lymphatic system. Oh, it doesn't show it. But your lymphatic system is your immune system. Helps fight off disease, pathogens, foreign pathogens. Did I go through them all? The reproductive system. Oh, that's respiratory system. The reproductive system. Its physiology is to pass down DNA. Males and females are vastly different. Females are to bear the offspring, so they have a womb. They have that uterus and the womb. Whereas males, their primary objective is to donate half of the chromosomes in sexual reproduction. I believe I got through them all. Muscular, skeletal, integumentary, lymphatic, respiratory, digestive, endocrine, cardiovascular, reproductive, urinary, and nervous. Okay, so that is all of the Anatomy and Physiology Chapter 1 Basics. Hope this video helps. I will be making more videos in detail on it.